Always.
Masood bhai.
Hi, thanks.
I think,
All
yeah, I
good in
think, yeah, go on, sorry. I can see it's 10:30 in India now, so it's pretty late.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I think, how many people have we? We've got quite a few people. I can see Miles is on the line. Miles, where's Max? Is Max on with you as well, or?
No, I'll just go and get him now.
Yeah, go and grab him. Hi, Johan. Good,
Good day, mate. How are you?
good, very good. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks for asking. Looking forward to listening to you, mate.
Yeah, yeah. It's actually Abdul Masood who's gonna presenting today. I'm just
Okay. All right.
hosting- yeah, I'm just hosting this on behalf of him.
No
So yeah.
worries. And hello to all the young boys out there. Nice seeing you taking such a keen interest in the game.
Yeah, there isn't much to do at the moment. It's pretty gloomy, raining. So there isn't much going on at the moment with all the lockdown and everything. So
That's
I
right.
think, yeah, it's a good time for the boys to get some knowledge out, and then when they get out on the field, they can implement some of the things that they can listen in. So it would be good.
Makes sense. All the best,
Yeah.
Abdul.
Thanks.
So why don't we kick off, Abdul? Why don't you take over? I think we have got enough kids on the line, and they are eagerly waiting. So maybe we could start off today's session, and then perhaps end of the session we could circle back regarding some of the items that we discussed last week about what people's goal, and we can randomly pick and choose people to understand what they thought about it from last week.
Right. Thanks. Hello, everybody. I think you had a pretty decent week, although everybody's at home, and it will take quite a bit of time for cricket to start in England. In India, we are playing cricket. Uh, Season is going to start in a while, so it's a bit different. But anyways, nice to be with you all. Although it's a bit late over here, but it's always good to talk cricket. Last week we did speak about goal setting with all of you, and uh, so far the feedback goes, you all enjoyed a bit. That's quite refreshing. Today I will be speaking about visualization, which is very much related to goal setting. I will be keeping the language very simple for all of you to understand, especially the younger ones. And I will try to share some stories with you. Well, those are basically on record. Boys, basically, visualization means forming mental image of something, right? We generally understand by the term that seeing is believing. But as athletes, we practice that thing in our mind, elite athletes. I start with the story of Brian Lara. Now, that goes back in 1999, Barbados test match against against Australia. Now, West Indies were 85 for 3 overnight, and that was the last day. Brian Lara was not out on 2, and West Indies were chasing 300, 8 to win. Now, at that point in time, Mr. Rudy Webster, he is basically a sports psychologist. So he was the mental skills coach of West Indies team. So he was in charge, and overnight, Brian Lara spoke to him as to how to go about the next day. and everything actually depended on Brian Lara. So what Rudy Webster shared with him, that's in a book also written by him. That's what I'm sharing with you. So Rudy Webster told Brian Lara actually to think in a way that he has already won the game for West Indies. He told Brian Lara to go about next day as if he has won the game, to visualize the entire time uh, till the time he was awake, thinking about the game as if he was facing the Australian bowlers in such a way that he was looking at the ball from the bowler's hand onto his bat, and then he was moving quickly into position for the shot, and then he was placing into the gaps, and the ball was going for runs, whatever it was, single, twos, threes, fours, whatever it is. Now, the next day is a history. Brian Lara went on to score 153 not out, and West Indies went on to win that test match. Now, later on, Brian Lara, he said that amongst that euphoria also, when Rudy came to him, he said that the night before that he visualized the entire thing. The day that he went on to bat, he actually felt that whatever he visualized the night before, he was actually going through the same thing that very day. Now, I'm sharing this with you. Brian Lara used to visualize this in this manner whenever he used to play. Fine. Brian Lara is somebody who scored 375 and then he scored 400 after 10 years. 10 years, mind it. The gap between scoring 375 and 400 was 10 years. Now, this is only possible when you prepare yourself mentally also. We prepare physically, but elite sportsmen, they prepare mentally also. Now, how this visualization actually works? Why visualization works? The question might come to your mind. Visualization actually works because the brain actually doesn't distinguish between what is the real and what is imaginary. Now, I'm sharing this with you. Research actually shows, I'm keeping it very simple. Research actually shows that if one person does something actually, and the other person visualize doing the same thing, so somebody is doing actually and somebody is visualizing doing the same thing, the same brain areas activated in both of them. Understand this thing. It is shown by research. Somebody is doing actually the same thing and somebody is visualizing doing the same thing. Their brain regions undergo actual physical change. This term is called neuroplasticity, right? I don't want to go into the depth of this. I will keep it very, very cricket oriented. Okay. Now I'm sharing with you one more example. Coming to 2008, JP Dumini, the South African international player. This was South Africa's tour of Australia. In this tour, South African consultant psychologist was Jeremy Snape, former England cricketer and now turned sports psychologist. Now, JP Dumini was actually a reserve batsman in that series. Jeremy Snape says that he could see that JP Dumini was actually very disgruntled and he was not actually motivated. He was going about his training, but he just could feel that, okay, fine, this was a series where I've come. I don't know whether I'm going to play or not. So Jeremy Snape had a session with JP Dumini and he says that he's told JP Dumini that you start visualizing as if that in 4 years' time, you are going to become the skipper of the South African team. Behave in such a manner. When you go to nets, you will face Lonobe Sotsobe, the left arm medium pacer, but you try to visualize that as if you are facing Michelle Johnson. He told him actually to keep on visualizing in this way. Destiny had it in the first test, the morning of the first test, Ashwell Prince, he broke his finger. JP Dumini was in for the match. He scored a 50 in the second innings. South Africa went on to win that Perth test. They chased 414. And in the next test, JP Dumini hit 166. South Africa went on to win that series in Australia for the first time. Now, Jeremy Snape says about visualization that if you prepare yourself mentally, in addition to your preparation of physical preparation, you actually help yourself by calming your nerves. You ease a lot of pressure while playing during matches. Because what happens during matches is you go through a lot of emotions. But if you can run those emotions when you are practicing or when you are visualizing, you actually help yourself when you are actually playing those matches. Now, what are the benefits of visualization? Let me tell you this. If you practice visualization, it actually empowers you. How does it empower you? Last class I had, or the last session, I had shared with you about goal setting. Now, as we had discussed that every athlete must have a goal. It might be small, it might be big, whatever it is. But everyone must have a goal. It's like a compass. For it will give us the direction where we are headed. Without that, we really don't know which way we are going. And for you, the kids, 2021 season, after you have lost the 2020 season, you must prepare on a very short-term basis as to this is a season which we are nearing, and for sure you will be getting this 2021 season. So what should be our immediate goal? And we must write it down. We must plan it accordingly. And this visualization process will actually help you achieve those goals. Now, how will visualization benefit you? The moment you write down your goal and you start planning and then you start visualizing, you will notice the small changes. The moment you start noticing the small changes, you will feel confident. You will feel positive because then you will see that you are moving in a particular direction. Visualization will give you the willpower. How will it give you willpower? It will give you focus. It will stop you from getting distracted. Now, what happens when we set goals? At times, we lose sight of goals. How do we lose sight of goals? Failure. Failure leads to impatience. We become fearful of setting again goals. Then there are negative social pressures, a lot of things. And then we say, oh, we don't set goals. We go about our routines. And then again, we just go through our rhythm. We fall apart and the season just goes by. So if we keep on coming back to our visualization, we keep on refocusing ourselves. It stops us from getting distracted. We might get distracted for a while, but then again, if we come back and we start visualizing, we again come back to where we had set the goal, and then we come back on track. So it keeps us focused. Now, let me again share you one more thing with you. Visualization can be of two types. One is outcome visualization and one is process visualization. Now, can anybody tell me what is outcome visualization and what is process visualization? If anybody wants to chip in.
I think process visualization is the process that you visualize that you're going to take, and the outcome is what you hope to get.
A bit detail would be fine. Okay. Generally speaking, visualization is of two types that they say. One is the outcome visualization, one is the process visualization. Now, what is the outcome visualization? Outcome visualization is actually the end visualization we visualize. Suppose I'm coming on a very short-term basis. Uh, Suppose I speak about the 2021 season. Most of you are playing school cricket, some of you are playing club cricket. So if I say that you want to make your school champion or you want to make your club champion at any level, then your outcome visualization could be that you are winning the final of your school tournament or your club tournament or your county tournament, or it might be for Ben Stokes that he had visualized winning the World Cup for England. That was his outcome visualization. Now, this outcome visualization was was absolutely a complete visualization which included a lot of factors. Lot of factors means when discussing about outcome visualization, all psychologists say that you have to actually feel each and everything that is possible. I give you an example. The Headingley Test match that Ben Stokes won with Jack Leach. I still remember how he went on to win it. I still remember the shot that he played and the entire stands just stood up. Now, when you're talking about outcome visualization, if somebody visualizes that I'm going to win that kind of a test match for my country, then he will visualize how I hit the scoring shot. The moment I hit, the emotion of the entire stadium, the emotion that goes on the teammates in the pavilion, his family members, the entire world, how it reacts to it, the media, everything. That is the entire outcome visualization that one person can possibly feel. He will feel the all his teammates jumping over him and everything. He can feel it in detail, and that will be different from each sports. I'm talking about cricket. I'm keeping it very cricket specific. That will be the outcome visualization. Now, if I talk about the process visualization, then breaking it up into Ben Stokes, that innings, that process visualization would have been his partnerships with each and every batsman, leading ultimately with Jack Leach. That will be his process visualization. So you will have to figure out what will be my outcome visualization and then breaking it up into process visualization. And everybody's visualization will be different. Nobody's has to be same. Somebody's will be school cricket, somebody's will be club cricket, somebody's will be minor county, somebody's will be county, some whatever suits you. Now this visualization, it has effects not only in modern cricket, but it had effects since the 1970s. I'm sharing with you, you haven't heard the name of, most of you haven't heard the name of, Johan has heard for sure, and everybody, Avi, Govind has heard. Alvin Kallicharran, you all will hear when you grow up, you will read about him. Fantastic batsman for West Indies. Now this gentleman, Alvin Kallicharran, he was having problem facing one of the great fast bowlers, Jeff Thompson of Australia. Now this is about 1975, 1976. Now 1975, 1976, also Rudy Webster was present with West Indies. Rudy Webster was present in 1999 with Brian Lara. Rudy Webster was there in 1976 also with Alvin Kallicharran. Now this is something which I'm talking specifically about batsmen. and then I will go to bowler also. So how batsmen can visualize? So Alvin Kallicharran was finding it very difficult to face Jeff Thompson. He was real quick. He was one of the persons who had unofficially clocked 160 Ks, 100 miles. Now he was finding it difficult. So he went out to Rudy Webster, the sports psychologist, and said that I was finding it difficult to face Jeff Thompson. Rudy Webster told him a peculiar way of handling him. He said, you need to visualize. That means think in your mind that you are playing Jeff Thompson to start with in a slow motion. Slow motion. And then, he said, you need to imagine him playing in normal speed. Then when he becomes comfortable, he said, you need to think that you are playing him at double the speed. Twice the speed, he said. So Kallicharran started to see him playing in slow motion with his eyes closed. Then when he became comfortable, he started seeing at normal speed. And then when he became absolutely comfortable with that, he started seeing it at double speed. You can't believe Kallicharran went and admitted to Rudy Webster that when he was having problems, but the next innings that he went into bat, he made a rapid 76 against Jeff Thompson. And he said that he was absolutely alert, he was feeling very relaxed, and he could watch the ball absolutely crystal clear. So in 1975 and 76, still this thing was there. So this is nothing new which I'm talking today. This is about batsman, sorry. Now, many of you must have heard the name of Wasim Akram, the great Pakistani bowler. Now, his wife was basically a psychologist, psychotherapist, hypnotherapist, whatever it is. Now, Wasim Akram was one of the very few Asian cricketers who started practicing this skill of visualization. His wife used to make him practice this. So he had this habit. She had this habit of making Wasim Akram sit at night every day. And she actually used to talk to Wasim Akram regarding this. It goes by like this, that she used to speak to Wasim Akram, and Wasim Akram actually used to do the sessions with her, and he went on to such a point that he really could feel in such a way that I'm going to bowl this in swinger. So the in swinger is going to really come from outside off stump to a left-hander, and he could really visualize it happening like that. And his wife, she has passed away. This is Wasim Akram's second wife actually. She passed away. She was British. So she said that she used to make Wasim Akram actually sleep, and she used to talk in a manner which basically mothers or fathers make children sleep like a lullaby. And Wasim Akram used to talk to himself that I am one of the best fast bowlers of all time. He used to talk to himself like that. This is something which I'm talking about, self-talk, which is not the topic of discussion today. So whatever I've said today, in a nutshell, is basically visualization is very powerful tool, but that has to be taken together with goal setting. You have to set goals, and then you have to bring in the visualization with it. Visualization cannot be done without goals. While I say so, bear one thing in mind. Visualization does not guarantee success. It does not replace hard work and practice. But when it is combined with hard work and effort, it gives a strong support network. It's a very powerful way to achieve positive behavioral changes. And also, I tell you one thing, that you need not be a great visualizer. It's the quality of your intent that matters. It does not matter what kind of a visualizer you are. that you close your eyes and you have to be in that phase, in that zone, that, oh, if I think this, then only performance is possible. No, no, no. If you start thinking, you will reach a point where you will be able to figure out what works best for you. Visualization is used by even the average of players for rectification purposes. How is that used? Whenever we make mistakes and we are unable to rectify that, there are many coaches, those who tell the students that you close your eyes, visualize that as if you are playing the shot in that manner, and keep on playing that image in your mind, and then slowly you will feel as if it is getting into your subconscious mind. And once it gets into your subconscious mind, then whenever you are actually playing that shot or you are doing that skill, if you go wrong, then all of a sudden the subconscious mind tells your conscious mind there is something wrong. And then you start feeling it that no, I need to rectify this. So to cut the long story short, boys, goal setting was our last day's topic. You need to set goals, and with that, if you can really start visualizing even at a very small level, you will be in a pathway to success. That's for sure. Abby, you want to add something?
No, I think what you said makes sense. I mean, it was quite interesting. I mean, for me as well, a lot of stories that you just mentioned, I didn't know any of them. So it's quite good for me as well to know.
Those are all on record.
Yeah, definitely,
Those are
definitely,
all on record.
definitely.
There's something I wanted to add with your permission, Abdul.
Absolutely.
Um, I just wanted to take the boys back to summer of 2020, where there was one session that a few of you guys might have attended with us at the Robux cricket ground, where we were practicing heat maps and bowling. This is where I asked you guys to bowl, and as you were bowling where the ball pitches, we were throwing a cone to see how you were spraying the ball all around the pitch. And then the second time around, we said, okay, let's start narrowing our focus down to one particular area. I want you to bowl good length balls. And then you guys subconsciously actually applied what Abdul was talking about. You started going back, and I could see you were thinking and visualizing hitting the good length spot. And if you remember, next go, you guys were hitting that spot, and many a times hitting the exact same spot over and over again. So what Abdul is talking is not something where you have to be a county or an international player to do. You guys have already done it. Subconsciously, you've already done it. What we would like to see from you guys is to make this a conscious effort more often than now, right? You guys were subconsciously, I think a few of you were there. Romit was there. I think I'm trying to remember who else was there. There were a few other, Luke was there, a few, and you guys did so well hitting the good length spots. And remember, the heat map suddenly became almost the size of a small little handkerchief, where you were just hitting the same spot over and over and over again. And that's because every time you were bowling, you were just not bowling. You were visualizing the ball even before you were bowling, and you were subconsciously doing that. Abdul, is that a good example for visualization?
Absolutely.
Is that a
And before I forget one thing, Govind, I must add in that everybody must inculcate the habit of writing their goals. You must. Everybody must get into the habit of writing the goals. It doesn't matter whether we are able to achieve the goals or not. But if we just don't start writing it, we are never going to achieve it. Never. We might keep on coming on this kind of sessions. We might make it a habit of hearing. But if we just don't start writing, and if we just don't start uh, tracking what we are doing, it's not going to make sense. It's not going to make sense.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. Having a diary of all these things written down just sort of etches it into your memory. Uh, and just to add, if you need more help with this and you want to have some one-to-one time with Abdul, do let us know and we can always get you in touch with him to see if you want to take this further, right? So this is also something for you guys to think about, writing and practicing and seeing how it is developing your game. It's not just about net, 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 net. And that's what you have to understand from people who've been playing professionally, played professionally, and coaching professionally, saying it's just as much mental or even more mental than just being
Just to
physical.
add one thing,
So,
Govind, I tell you, actually, boys do really make progress. You know what? But they don't feel motivated when, because they don't keep track of their improvement. But when we keep a track of it, even a small improvement motivates them. Suppose I'm unable to bowl good areas and I write it down. And after a month, I just noted that I am able to bowl good areas. That gives me a very positive motivation. I give you an example. How many of us practice bowling to left-handers? We don't. But when we go to the matches, and if we face 3 or 4 left-handers in one team, then we just say, oh, there were so many left-handers, and that's why I ended up bowling that many wides. So there has to be planning in every sense.
Yeah, Johan, I thought you wanted to say something. So feel free to go ahead.
Oh, thanks, mate. Abdul, great insight, mate, and thank you for sharing
Thank
great
you.
cricketing history with the boys. If you don't mind me, I want to add something for the boys,
Absolutely.
and I think it's sort of like the white elephant in the room that never really gets addressed regarding visualization, and that is called over-visualization, and that's usually driven by fear and ego. Now, the young boys at their age, what I'm noticing from the videos that I see, the boys who are attending it, you know what? Everybody deals with a certain amount of fear or a fear for something in their young career. And at this age of the boys, they usually deal with the fear of facing either a very fast bowler or a very accomplished spin bowler, right? And then what they don't realize, what they subconsciously do is they actually visualize their failures against these players, whether it would be in a match format, whether it would be by trials or school matches or club matches. And the only way to translate or transfer that over visualization that equals to negative visualization over to positive visualization is actually to own up to your fears, communicate that, so that you don't visualize your incompetencies or failures against a specific player, but transfer that over to successes. And that's where your positive visualization comes from, is that if you can admit your fear towards a certain player and then set goals, process visualization and outcome visualization. But as long as young players are not willing to own up and say, you know what, I have a fear of facing fast bowling, or I have a fear of facing a leg spinner, or I have a fear of facing a left arm bowler, you know what, that will never translate to positive visualization. Because the moment you can communicate that negative visualization because of your fears, you can actually surround yourself with people who can help you overcome that negative visualization. I thought I'd just share that with the boys because, you know what, young boys and us as men have a tendency to have egos and we feel ashamed to share our fears. There's nothing wrong with admitting when you have a fear for a certain player, whether it is by name or whether it is by bowling action, but owning up to that will massively positively contribute towards very good visualization and outcome visualization. That's just my 5 cents worth I wanted to share with the boys.
Excellent. Thank you very much. This is really helpful. Brilliant insights. Excellent.
Yeah, this is absolutely. I mean, I'm going to add here, Johan. I mean, this is something that we have seen as a coach many a times, right? That when we see a batsman in a net and a bowler who is a little bit quicker is bowling to the batsman, as a coach, you can pick that up, right? That whether he's a little bit uncomfortable, or if he's like his first trigger movement is going back, right? If you see the batsman is keep on going back, you can kind of tell as a coach that, okay, there might be something. He might be a little bit uncomfortable, getting a little bit scared. But when you ask that player that, are you like, you probably don't ask like, are you scared? But even if you ask in some sort of a way, their answer is always no. But I think this is a great point, that as a young player, you are growing up. It's not that you have faced every type of bowler with different fast. I mean, this is the time that we learn as a group. So I think owing up to that is a very important factor, that if you are having uncomfortable with certain type of bowler or with certain type of action, you should go to any coach, right? And you tell them like what's the issue you are having. As a coach, every coach is here to help you and make you a better player. So I think it's a great point. I mean, we normally don't discuss this, but I'm glad that you picked it up.
Yeah, and if I can just elaborate one little bit there. Sorry, I don't want to take over. Young players, you got to remember, it's not just batsmen who have fears. It is bowlers as well. You got to understand, there are very, very accomplished batsmen out there at a very young age who absolutely dominate bowling attacks. And bowlers have the same fears when they have to bowl to certain batsmen. And that also negatively impacts their visualization process, and owning up to that as well, to a certain style of batsman, whether it's a nudger, whether it's an attacking player, a dominant offside player, dominant leg side player, or a manipulative batsman, because the modern game is starting to breed more manipulative batsmen, which means 360 degrees, and that instills a lot of fear. So rather than having fear, find the process visualization. What can you do to upskill yourself to counter when you play that specific type of batsman? Sorry, thank you. I don't want to take over.
That's fine. Absolutely. Great insights.
Abdul, I know it's getting late, but do you
No,
want
no,
to?
no, that's fine. That's fine. I'm absolutely fine. Don't worry.
If any of you guys want to discuss any of the smart goals that you may have set for 2021, as what Abdul had asked you to do last week, I think now is a good time to raise your hands and check out if your goals actually,
Or even that, Govind, they can just share it over the WhatsApp also.
as well. Okay, yeah, I mean, if you want to discuss it now and get feedback, go for it. Or if you want to share on WhatsApp or whatever, that's also perfectly fine. So yeah, or if you have any questions for anybody, please don't feel shy, ask away. That's what we're here for.
Come on, someone must have a question. Rohan.
No, I don't have any questions.
Max usually has a question. Come on, Max.
That's a lot of questions.
No questions this time. Does anybody have a smart goal that they have written down? Jeevan or Amraj? Any of you guys?
Amraj, what's your smart goal?
My smart goal is to improve my batting and selection shot.
Okay.
Okay.
So can you explain to us how it is smart?
Specific to practice batting at my cricket club with my coaches. Measurable. I will practice batting for 1 hour 3 times a week. Achievable. I will agree a training plan with my coach and my dad, focusing on my weaknesses. Record. Me and my coach will create a training plan, practicing in nets, doing drills, and by playing in matches. Time frame. By the end of August, I will be more confident. I will be a more confident batter with a selection of shots ready for district trials.
What do you think, Abdul?
Yeah, pretty realistic, because he has said something for August. Once I have a look at it, that's okay. While saying so, I must say only one thing. Uh, Please don't mind, but we have a general tendency, and I'm talking being an Asian. Whenever we have grown up in a manner, whenever we go to a coach, we used to ask, "What's our fault?" Right? That's how we have grown up. So don't take me otherwise. I'm saying it from my own way. I have changed this way of learning. At least I must say, don't look at it from a weakness point of view. Always think that we are doing also good things. It's not that you are always doing something wrong. Of course, nobody does everything right. That's an admitted position, but everybody does something right. The job is to strengthen our strengths and better our weaknesses. If I may give the example of Alistair Cook, the greatest batsman for England to have scored so many runs. How many shots did he play?
3 maybe at the most.
Exactly.
Because
So
I
that's it. That's exactly what I wanted to say.
I had a
So-
session with Alistair Cook in the nets at Lord's
Yeah.
for one of the client events. And he basically was talking to kids your age, and he said the same thing. He first of all accepts. He says, I have 3 shots which I know I can play. Everything else I leave or I defend.
I tell you one thing. I was in an international camp with Jimmy Cook and other gentlemen in Potchefstroom in South Africa in 2010. And we were talking about Graham Smith, his grip. And they tried a lot to change his grip. When they couldn't change his grip, they changed his game plan. Everything was leg side. So what I'm trying to say to these kids is that I have to do or I have to play the game in this particular way. That's not the way. Just enjoy the game, figure out what suits you, work the game around that. He had one of this grip, Graham Smith, but ended up as one of the top batsmen in the world. So look into the positives, not always weaknesses. Of course, you will look at your weaknesses, but work on your strengths as well.
Perfect. That was very, very good. Joe, do you have a smart target for this year?
Yeah, mine is to score a certain amount of runs. So I want to score, if it's a full season, I would like to score like 800 plus runs. Because last season I scored a bit over 600, and that was without school cricket. So I'd like to just like keep improving and just keep scoring more runs and like specific, and then to be measurable. After like every kind of month, I could kind of look where I am in terms of how many runs I've scored. As I said, I do reckon it's achievable. And as I said with the months, I record where I'm kind of at in my progress. And in terms of time, yeah, it'll be this season.
Thank you, Joe. Abdul, your feedback?
I want Johan to give a feedback on this. He's listening.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, firstly, Joe and Jas, well done on your goals that you've set. I want to share something with the young boys, which is so important. You know, you can have the best goals in the world and you can have the best processes and visualization in the world. But this is a philosophy that I coach by, and it's really something I encourage young players to take on board. And I really need you to listen carefully to what I'm saying. The way you play must always be an extension and complement of your character and personality. Always be a reflection of your authentic self and never adapt the identity of a coach or any other authority figure. So why do I say that? I listened to Jas's goal, and a lot of Jas's goals included my coach and I, my coach and I, my coach and I, and at some stage Dad was also involved. That is beautiful. We need very good support structure. But always be mindful. Try to play the game that represents your personality and character, because if you can go out and express yourself for the type of person that you are within a team environment, you will execute your skills with confidence, and you will execute your skill with conviction. But every time you go and play, you try to mimic somebody else or impersonate somebody else because you have a lack of faith and belief in your own ability. It will reflect in your performances, and it will also reflect in your preparation and in your goal setting. Your goal setting must be your goal setting, not somebody else's, because only you can achieve your goals, and only you will ever be held accountable whether you achieved your goals or not.
Shall I add something, Johan?
No, that's it. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, yeah. What happens if the goals that you have set of 800 runs, suppose after 4 or 5 matches, you see that you have been given out a couple of times, poor decisions and something, and all of a sudden you are seeing that, oh my God, it's looking as if a steep goal. What happens? How do you react?
I always teach my players to err on the side of caution with very number-specific goal settings, especially when it comes to scoring runs, because there are so many variables at stake here. It would be playing conditions, it would be rain intervals, it would be reduced matches. So I would much rather say when you go out and play, that goal setting should be, you want to minimize the amount of times you get dismissed below 10. You want to minimize the amount of times you get dismissed below 20. And you want to minimize the amount of times you get dismissed below 30. And then you want to set a goal for conversion rates from 25 30s to 50s and 50s to 100s. To have a very specific number, you will always feel that you are climbing the insurmountable mountain, or like we like to say in Australia, you're trying to push shit uphill. Sorry, boys. Oh, my bad. You're trying to skate uphill. You understand what I'm saying? So to really have specific goals in terms of runs or wickets, you're putting yourself under unnecessary pressure. What you can do is you need to control the controllables and don't try to control the uncontrollables.
Yeah.
So work out when you want to be dismissed and when you don't want to be dismissed, and make sure you don't exceed those numbers. And also, it's very, very important. You need to compare apples with apples when you perform. You might have only scored 25 runs, but you have to be brutally honest with yourself and take conditions into consideration, what the match scenario was, because some 25s are sometimes worth 50s and some 25, you understand? And then you can mark that off as a goal achieved, because you got to take things in context. Otherwise, this game will knock you down more times than what you could ever get up. So it's got to be in context, and you've got to take all variables in consideration.
Exactly. That's what I actually tell my students as well, and what I wanted to tell him also, that if you get in, score a big one, carry on, stay not out if possible, because you never know what's coming up the next game. And don't worry, because there is always a plan B. There is always a plan B. So you need to revisit your goals. So never get demoralized. If you get out cheaply for a couple of games, no need to worry. Again, we can revisit, we can set new targets, and then again we stay positive and we can just go about our goals. That's it. Yeah,
that's a very good point, Abdul. One thing that I would say from my point as well, I mean, we kind of play club cricket, but one thing we would say, that never things, whenever you are getting runs, whenever you are taking wickets, never take it for granted. Because when you are on good flow, when you are hitting the ball from the middle of the bat, when you are scoring boundaries, right, never let it go, never give it away, because the next 4 or 5 games you might not be able to get any run. right? So when you are get in, make it count. Like I've seen it so many times when I'm hitting the ball, like I'm on 45, or I've seen Govind is on 45, 50, right? And then we're like, okay, we have scored enough runs for today. Let's try to play a big shot. We get out. Next 4 games, we didn't cross 10. Then you would sit there, and when you don't get runs, you would find ways of getting out, right? Luck would play a big factor. Things happen. You would stand on the non-striker end, the ball will hit the bowler's finger and it will knock the stump down. So when you are get in, make sure you make
Make
it
it
count.
count.
Don't leave it for the next game.
Yeah, and my 2 cents as a person who's slow, learning batting in a way. As a bowler, I'm trying to now become a batsman. Uh, I do set myself targets to improve, but at the same time, which is exactly what Abdul said, I've made notes of what I should do and what I should do better. So I have 3 or 4 things that I have to do at the start of every ball. So every ball after I faced it, I go back, I reset, and I do the 3 things: taking my guard, my hand position, my hip position, my head position. I look at that, reset, I'm now ready. That's how I start every ball. And when I do that correctly and consistently, I always end up getting big scores. Then for me, I don't start looking at fielders, I see gaps. I don't start worrying about where my runs is, it starts flowing. So for me, when I set my goals to get a big one, I generally break it down into how do I get there? And it starts with every single ball. Uh, that's pretty much it. Romit, you generally have a lot of questions for us and you're silent today. So what's your goal for 2021?
My goal for 2021, well, it's trying to improve both my batting and bowling skills, like trying to choose certain shots and like trying to also like work on my like more of a batting point. I'm trying to work on my strength in my top hand. Generally I'm quite a bottom hand player. I'm trying to develop like my left hand strength. So that's pretty much my goal. And then bowling wise, I'm focusing on like variation because it's not something I was ever good at. I'm trying to think about different ways to improve. And then personally then start
Okay, I mean,
building on those things.
Romit, I think that's really good general goals, but what I want you to start doing is applying the framework Abdul's talked about last week, which is break it down into a SMART goal. So there's the presentation we've shared of what SMART is. And I want you to think about how you're going to achieve all the different things, or maybe one of the things that you've talked about, and break it down into a proper SMART goal, and then send it to us so we can try and discuss it again later. But that's because right now you've got so many things in your mind, it's not clear. Even it's not clear to you of how you're going to achieve it, right? So I want you to start thinking about that. And that's what both Johan and Abdul were telling, think about the good things you've done and how you're improving it. Or if you want to work on something you're not good at, be very specific of how you're going to achieve it. So I want you to think about writing it as a SMART goal. Okay. So that's something that's my feedback to you.
Yeah, or you go for a specific net session with a specific goals, right? In today's net, don't think about I'm going to improve my batting and I'm going to improve my bowling. That's not very specific, right? We always wanted to achieve that. But when you are going for a net session, think about what are you going to trying to achieve from that particular 1 hour net session. Are you trying to just improve your top hand, right? So have a specific goals for a specific session and then break it down. You can do it in this way as well.
If they want, they can WhatsApp it to you, and we can have a look if they want.
If I may just add one little thing, I love the goals that Romit and the other 2 boys shared with us, but I have one general concern with one specific aspect, that seems to be lacking in everybody's goal setting. And it's probably the most important part of your goal setting. And that is, I want to improve my strength and conditioning. Young players these days add so much importance and emphasis on improving their skills. Skills means absolutely nothing if you do not have a functioning body. And I would want to encourage the young boys to really take a board and work on your strength and conditioning. And that's not just fitness. That is literally conditioning your body so that you can train day in and day out. And when you play in carnivals, whether it would be at school or district level or regional level, and you've got to play 5 days of consecutive cricket, if your body is not conditioned, you will not see the end of the week, and you cannot put in good performances day after day after day. Young coaches, Abdul, I'm sure you're a coach, Govind, Avi, I'm sure you are coaches. It's something that really needs to be focused on. It's the strength and conditioning of young players these days.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. No doubt. And how about finishing off with a smart goal from Lucky? Lakshya, are you around? Do you have a goal for the season?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were saying about like scoring. Don't think about it like exact amount of runs. I put like a goal with the exact amount of runs. So I mean, now if you're just talking about bowling, I was just thinking that I think I can hit like a line and length probably 5 or 6 times and over. I was just thinking how to increase like my speed with my bowling action. So how to like get a braced front leg, and mainly that was just the goal for this season.
But they have to be very particular. Otherwise, it's going to be a vague goal, and it's again at the end of the season. Oh, I tried. It was just another season that went by.
I think we've all had a first good stab at trying to come up with a goal for the season, and I think Abdul and Johan and Avi, they've all spoken about how you should start thinking about this SMART goal differently. So I think before Abdul talks about what exercise he wants to give you for the next week, I want you guys to go back and revisit your goals and be very specific about it, and think about all the inputs you've got from the coaches today, and rewrite that same goal or a different one and come back to us next week. And Abdul, what was your plan for this week? Did you have anything you wanted them to do on visualization as an exercise for the next week?
No, let them write it down, whatever they feel like about the goal setting and visualization, because listen, it's nothing like an homework type. It's something which they love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, this is something which they love. So everything must come spontaneously. It's nothing like I'm giving you a task, so you must do this. It's nothing like that. So let them write it out spontaneously, and let's see whatever comes out.
Absolutely.
We are here to be with them. So it's up to them.
Absolutely, boys. I mean, you're getting a great coach from India. You have another gentleman dialing in from South Africa. It's super late for both of them, and they're spending time to teach you boys and giving up their time. So make the most of this, right? Not everybody has this opportunity. Think about the other boys in your club. Are they getting this opportunity? No, they must be most probably watching Netflix. So if you want your 2021 to get better, then it starts with you, right? And it ends with you. We are just the support system there to help you get better. We always has to start with you, and you've got to make that effort. So if there's no other questions, no other raised hands, we can say goodnight to Johan and Abdul. And we'll see you at 5 o'clock next week. So don't see any other raised hands. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Johan.
Guys.
Thanks, Avi. Have a great night.
Yeah, you all. Take care.